These were later released on a cash bail, like I said, of 15 million. And prosecution alleges that in the month of June this year, Kaima, without a written contract and clearance from the Solicitor General, irregularly made payment worth 295 million Ugandan shillings for blankets in favor of Emax Supplies and Logistics Limited. You remember the issue of the blankets in Kasese? Same case here. Now, Kaima is further accused of having, in the same month, without clearance of all written contract from the Solicitor General, irregularly made payment worth 369 million for the tampolins in favor of Construction and Supply Limited under 2 accounts of office abuse. So like the Prime Minister, Right Honorable Robin Anabanja, said, this particular term is one for no play time. This Chisanja is for Hakuna Mochezo, and anyone who thinks they're going to violate anything, you are bound to face it, to actually face the law. Meanwhile, we head into our topical discussion. I am in with Andrew Baride here as we are going to discuss a number of issues, one of which is the Uganda Airlines, as well as the hotel owners who have been urged to stop charging Ugandans in dollars. That is by the State Minister for Tourism, Wildlife and Antiquities, Martin Bahinduka. But to kickstart off from there, let's welcome Andrew on board. Andrew Baride.
Yes, sir.
Welcome.
Thank you, sir.
And second day running, and we're in this together.
Exactly.
How is everything, by the way?
Everything is okay. It's all amazing. Everything is just fine. We just trying to make every day a better day.
Okay, definitely. And if to look into that, we're even on a journey of 59 years for
exactly. Yeah, independence.
All right, now let's kickstart off from there, Andrew. Let's look at the Uganda Airlines. The transition we've had 2 years back, it was just re-established, and operation kick-started off, having collapsed way back during the era of the late Idi Amin Dada.
Exactly.
So the question here is, how is the journey so far?
Yeah, the journey is promising. It's really promising as compared to, because when we see from the year it started, that was 1976. We see it started as a subsidiary under Uganda Development Corporation. Before that, we used to have East Africa Airways. So the route operated, and at that moment we had the routes it used to take included Brussels, London, and quite other. That was when we had the first craft.
Very huge cities there.
Exactly. And when we put other crafts, the destinations increased. Dubai came in place, Tel Aviv. Though shortly after they were discontinued for quite a number of reasons. And come 1994, there was something amazing in the airlines. There was an alliance with the Tanzania Airlines, South Africa, together with Uganda, though it didn't really last so long due to issues, finances, attributed to mismanagement.
Okay.
Exactly. And the company was running in dates. And come the late 1990s, the government planned to liquidate the company, but the potential bidders all pulled out. And actually, that's when the company was, it collapsed like that, because at least they needed a company to come and take over to keep it moving. The Tanzania Airways put off the potential, like the British Airways, there were the potential people that would buy the airlines, but they lost the bid. Okay, they didn't lose the bid, but they gave up on the bid. Then the promising company that was almost going to buy out the Uganda Airlines was the South African Airlines. But in the process, due to great opposition from the legislature, it lost the bid. Finally, that's the journey. That's
when you did also mention about the alliances, so I should actually say alliances don't come not a new thing to South African Airways, because a few weeks back, the Kenyan Airways, or the KQ Airways, has actually been facing some cases which would also have led to its collapse or running out of the business of the aviation. But however, they came up with the South African Airways to set up an alliance that would see the two managers, the two merge together to actually see that the aviation sector in Africa is back to pre-pandemic levels. Now let's also talk about, you've mentioned of the routes that the Uganda Airlines used to make.
Exactly.
Way back. Now, this particular situation, Monday, that was Monday 5th of October, when Uganda Airlines launched. It's actually Monday 4th October when Uganda Airlines launched a direct route to Dubai. Of what impact does this have to Uganda?
First of all, currently, as we know, we have quite so many of our brothers and sisters who actually work in Dubai.
Okay.
Yeah, and not only that, there are quite a lot of, we have businessmen that make trips, business trips that side. As we know, Dubai is predominantly a business-dominated empire, let me say that. I mean, this is going to, first of all, the fact that it's a direct flight, first of all, it saves the time that somebody has to take like about two flights to get there before the Uganda Airlines came in. I guess it's going to make, first of all, travel costs are going to be fair, unlike before.
Yeah.
That's one of the impacts I see.
Because we are not supposed to be making different routes.
Exactly.
So we are making a direct one from Dubai, or rather from Uganda, straight to the airport in Dubai.
Exactly. Yeah. So, and let's talk about people in Dubai coming to Uganda. That's another impact.
The tourism, the trade, the investors.
The tourism.
A lot.
And actually, and this is really going to benefit much the tourism sector. The way at my look of things, like the way I see things, it's going to boost the tourists, the tourism sector in Uganda. And I project maybe it's time to come, it might outcompete the agriculture.
The agriculture.
A little bit.
Well, for me, I don't think so. Anyway, you see, the nature of tourism is a bit tricky in Uganda. Why?
Yeah.
Because the tourists that we expect to be coming in Uganda, of like the foreign tourists, have actually decreased now. Their numbers actually decreased. Why? Because we had the situation of COVID, and Uganda was actually a red listed country where most of the governments were saying we should not allow our citizens to go to Uganda.
Exactly.
There's a chance, there's a high risk in Uganda of someone contracting with the virus. And if you look at agriculture is a wide scope.
Yes.
Even if we are having let's say we're having insecurity in Uganda, even if it's a political insecurity, it will not hinder anyone from growing something. Why? In case, even if it is war, late in the, you would see that someone would actually fix time to actually throw a seed somewhere to grow something, because you have to eat.
Exactly.
And that is why I would say tourism, it can actually outcompete some other sectors. But I don't think with agriculture. Reason being, agriculture is just like food everywhere, and food is like you need to eat.
We need to eat, exactly.
Definitely, because even when the tourists come here, they will have to eat some food here to promote that. But I think tourism can actually outbeat it, because according to research, in the early 1960s, it was standing in the 4th position
tourism
in terms of the export generation in Uganda, which actually played a very huge part before it actually collapsed. But it was actually playing a very huge part in tourism there. And I suggest that with the Uganda Airlines actually having a direct route to Dubai, you also add trade, boosting trade. Why? Because we have a number of traders who go to Dubai to actually get stock that they are going to sell in Uganda. And the bigger challenge that maybe they've always faced is taxes. You also mentioned about the distance.
The distance and the flight costs.
The flight cost there. So if it being a direct one, it may hinder the direct and even the people in Dubai, like you say. And it actually comes in a time when we have the Dubai Expo.
The Dubai Expo, exactly.
Which is easier for anyone who's going to travel.
Very perfect. Very perfect.
And when we were speaking to the Uganda Airlines marketing manager, she did mention of the fact that there are other routes that they are going to add on board.
Exactly. Actually, with adding of routes, because according to the history of the airlines, that can only be put in effect when they have more aircrafts, like to diversify.
The equipment has to...
Exactly, the equipment has to be available. Then on top of that, the good news is actually there is a plan to expand the Entebbe airport to accommodate more flights. So I think that can only be possible when, because currently we have only one flight, I guess. And
one Bombardier.
Exactly.
Then we have other four. No, we have 4 Bombardiers, and then we have an Airbus.
Oh, cool.
If I can actually identify the Airbus is Airbus A330
Neo.
Yes, there are two.
Two Airbus.
There are 2 bigger Airbus A330 A330 Neo craft that are available on ground, plus 4 Bombardiers.
Yes.
The small planes, I guess.
Small planes.
And they can make huge.
Yeah, because we are, in this instance, we're trying to look at capacity.
That can actually reach huge
destinies.
And when we're speaking about equipment, the Bombardier would make a very huge destination, or will actually travel more than the Airbus will actually travel more than the Bombardier. The Bombardier looks more of a private set of an airplane in that regard. And I'm still here with Mr. Andrew Barije. We are discussing more of some of the topics, the key topics throughout the week. Take and say, for example, now we are discussing the airlines, and I hope you're actually moving on well with us as well. And you can also give your view via social media, Twitter, Smart24 TV, Facebook at Smart24 TV, Instagram, that's Smart24 TV as well. The website is www.smart24tv.com. As we're actually summing it up with the Uganda Airlines, before we actually kickstart off with the other issue, what is your view on the airport? Because we also have, leave alone the airlines, we are now talking the aviation sector. What is your view with we are actually having a construction of another airport in the western part of Uganda. Where do you see our aviation sector in Uganda?
Actually, our aviation sector is promising because when you read statistics, actually research shows that there is a plan with the National Aviation Authority in Uganda to between 2014 to 2033 to expand the airport, and we shall have more carriers and aircrafts. I think this is really promising, not only to the aviation sector, but to other sectors of the economy. One of them is agriculture. In this incident, when we have a big size of the airport, we have multiple carriers, that means there shall be export, our export, and most of them are perishable, like the floriculture industry. It's going to save that time, and most of them reach when they're not really in good state, and it also helps to cut the high costs of refrigeration, because they have to be in a cool place for them to reach when they are not yet in a bad state. So the future of the aviation industry is really very promising, and it's also, I see Uganda being on the forefront of being on the global, because aviation, when it comes to infrastructure, let me say, because that industry, we also include it in the infrastructure.
Yeah, sure thing. Because of the airports and...
exactly. So, telecommunications plus air transport sectors, those are the two major, if such areas are well established in a country, it really competes favorably on the global scene. So I know the aviation sector in Uganda is really doing that, and according to their plans for the future years, there is a great future. And the fact that the World Bank projects that actually the users of the Entebbe airport come the next 3 years. Currently it's about 2.4 million people, but come the next 3 years, about 3.2 million users of the Entebbe airport.
And I can only also understand why Kenyan Airways has actually stood the test of time. Reason being, they have 2 airports in Kenya.
Yeah, exactly.
There is one in Nairobi, that is the Jomo Kenyatta International Airport. Then there is one in Mombasa. And all these airports are very crucial on the development of the civil aviation in Kenya, and also the development of the aviation sector in general as well. And also seeing that Kenya's aircraft business is blossoming. We've actually been seeing all these adverts with international television, and that is where we want to see adverts where people would say, fly the pearl of Uganda to the rest of the world, not only across East Africa. We have the Airbus there, we have the Bombardier planes as well. So flying Uganda is making sure that we are building Uganda. I'm still with Andrew Barije. We're going into a very short break. When we return, we are going to also talk about the hotel sector. We are still in the tourism part of it, but now we're going to be discussing the hotel sector and what is its impact to Uganda's economy, and why should the hotels in Uganda stop charging Ugandans in dollars or in foreign currencies, because literally we're using the shillings, and why would one pay in the US dollars? That and more is coming your way with the topical discussion. Keep it SMB.